The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
One mic.
I'm back. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Live.
Ain't no goddamn tape.
Interactive and on demand. One Mic. Yeah, a sports show.
The best move of LeBron's career, man, was dragging his sweaty ball sack right across Draymond Green's the nape of his neck and getting that dude suspended.
And so much more.
What's going on right now with Donald Trump? This is America, and it tickles me to death when white people are so shocked and appalled by it.
What? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Of course, it's like anything, like ammonia or you sniffing glue is gonna get you high.
You've been warned. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky, he's real loudmouth, he's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Yeah, man. We made it to another Friday here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and joining me here on Spreaker.com. Spelled Spreaker.com. So make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a damn friend. Also, let them know Spreaker has an app so they can download it for all their mobile devices. And take your boy with them when it goes live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. The show is also live on TuneIn. And, of course, my website. Check it out, onemicwithbigmike.com. Streaming live video right now on my Facebook page at One Mic with Big Mike. At the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. That's the same handle you want to use for my Twitter and my Instagram. So make sure you follow me. Like the Facebook page. Check out the Facebook live stream if you're one of those people who like to watch. If you want to be involved in the show, you want to kind of co-host the show a little bit, you can do so in a variety of ways. One, by texting me at 404-902-8104. That's 404-902-8104. You can also leave your comments and questions. And hopefully I'll see them. Sometimes I don't see them if you leave them below the streaming video here on Facebook because on the computer that I'm using, I have the Facebook app open and I don't have the actual website open. So I'll try to get to them if I can. If not, so be it. But the most efficient way, probably the best interactive way to be a part of the show is through my chat room here on Spreaker. If you're listening via Spreaker or my website, you'll see a little thought bubble icon. Just click on that. It'll get you right up inside the live interactive chat room. You can post your questions, comments, criticisms. You can conversate amongst yourselves when in the chat room. It's pretty much an open field there. Don't forget, a couple slots left, getting filled up nicely here. The One Mic with Big Mike Fantasy Football League. Send me an email, man. Send me an email to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. I'll shoot you back a link to the league with the password and all that good stuff so you guys can sign up. I got a couple slots left and I want to kind of get it done by the end of the weekend, so when it's time to rock and roll for draft and all that kind of stuff, I got everything set and everybody set and ready to go. You can also go to my website, to the contact page on my website, and do the same thing. Just make sure you put fantasy football as the subject so I know what it is the hell that you want before I even open up the email. Bottom of the hour today, got a guest. We're going to get ready for some college football. My man Bill Bender, he's a national college football writer from the Sporting News. He's going to join me at the bottom of the hour to, try to get get on top of this college football thing. I hadn't really been talking about any of the new names or some of the old names that are coming back or what's happening with some of the teams, surprise teams, maybe teams that you wouldn't expect to be in the mix this year. And he'll help us get all that sorted out within about 20 or 25 minutes at the bottom of the hour. So that means at the top of the next hour, I'll be taking you guys back into the annals of sports with my every show feature, which I call On This Day. I give you guys some tidbits and some factoids about what it is that has happened on this particular day in the history of sports. As you guys can clearly hear and see that I'm here, which means my Powerball didn't come through. Apparently some lady, some lady in the Northeast, she got my money. So I'm kind of not feeling real good about that. Just lost $700-something million, $400 for the cash option, probably about $2-something after taxes. Yeah, it don't feel good to lose that money, man. I got two numbers. I don't know. Do you win money? I ain't getting no Powerball, but I got two out of the 6 without the Powerball. Man, I need to check that. Maybe that's like $1 or something. So, like, technically, I could have possibly hit the Powerball. I need to. I would have still came and done the show though for $1. I wouldn't have missed it, but whatever. And also, real quick before we get into the conversation about the ridiculousness that's happening in Vegas this weekend. Shout out to my man Rob Calloway. He's out there doing work out there in Vegas, covering the Mayweather. I was gonna say Mayweather Pacquiao, Mayweather McGregor fight in quotes, quote unquote fight. Before we get to that, man, shout out to all the people, man, out in Texas. It's about to get hit by this hurricane, this Category 3 Hurricane Harvey, man. And the people that look, man, I saw on TV today. White folks, shout out to y'all, man. They out there having hurricane parties. Like they're not leaving. they're not leaving. They having parties. I just saw text messages I'm gonna tell y'all about here in just a second. It's hella funny to me. So yeah. And they're sitting up under like a carport drinking while a Category 3 is coming to wipe their ass away. And somebody told me on Facebook today that I just don't know that life in that part of the country. Tornadoes are just what it is. I was like, all right, tell that to them folks at Hurricane Katrina. I don't know. Like, maybe he's right. I don't know that life. But, like, I saw via my TV and being here in Atlanta, a place where a lot of the people who escaped the hurricane came to, yeah, I'm kind of glad I don't know that life. Yeah, I remember I was doing radio at that time, and I was doing like street promotions for the radio station at the time. So I got the chance to be out in the streets, and we was out there collecting money for the hurricane relief. So I saw what them folks was going through, man, and I was, I can get new stuff, B. I'm trying to bounce. I ain't trying to be stuck on top of no damn house and in no damn Superdome and none of that. But either way, man, for those who made it out, hope it ain't as bad as they say it is. I'm not a real hope person, as you guys probably know by listening to the show. But, if there's a chance that it ain't as bad or it don't turn out as bad, man, but they're saying it's going to be like a year's worth of rain. So I don't know how that can turn out any better than, what it is. So anyway, the big thing that's going on this weekend, out in Vegas, they're having a little thing that they're trying to sell it to you as a fight. Floyd Money Mayweather and Conor McGregor. This thing that I personally said that was never going to happen. I thought it was too much of a circus act, too much of a. I thought I did the thing that I rarely do. I gave sports fans the benefit of the doubt for being smarter than this, for buying into something this ridiculous. Like I would rather watch Jackie Moon actually fight a bear at the Tropics halftime show than watch this. Which leads me to this text that it just came through as the show was starting. The wifey, are we ordering this fight? First of all, she has no idea what's happening with this. All she knows is that it's a bunch of stuff going on. So this is the stuff that I'm talking about. She has no idea about any of this stuff. But she's asking me, am I going to pay $100 for that? We already, look, and I thought about this right before the show started. We already paying for Showtime. You know what I mean? So at the very, very least, worst case scenario for your boy is a week later. If something jumps off, I'm going to see it. Best case scenario, and I know this is going to happen, yeah, the fight will be happening. I'll be watching something on Netflix, but I'll also be on Instagram or on Twitter or something. And let's say Floyd just knocks the hell out of this dude, or like lightning strikes, and McGregor gets a hold of Floyd one time and knocks him out. Guess what's going to happen? Everybody's going to rewind the DVR. They're going to record it on their phone, and I'm going to see it 2 minutes after it happens anyway. For the free ski. Yeah, y'all getting played. Y'all getting played extremely to the left. They saying, first of all, Vegas is set to lose like millions of dollars on this because the odds are so off or whatever. And apparently someone went and threw a couple $1 million on Floyd yesterday. Wonder who that was. But that's kind of how you got to bet, I guess, because I don't know a lot about betting and wagering and all those type of things. But I guess that's how you have to bet in order to get bread off of the Floyd bet, because yeah, it ain't really going down like that. The margin's too high, and if you bet on McGregor, you get, my man Rob Calloway said he's going to bet on McGregor. I don't think that means he thinks he's going to win, but it's like, it's like me with this Powerball the other day. Like, it's so high, and the chances don't, like, the what is it, the risk and the reward, they're kind of worth it. You know what I mean? But as far as watching this as an actual sporting event, y'all can miss me with the crazy, foolish bullcrap. Hell no. Hell no. And I put a little poll out probably, I don't know, a week or two ago, just asking people if they're going to partake in this, man. And for the most part, most people said no. A lot of people was like, yeah, I'm going to have a fight party. I'm going to a fight party. Yeah, I'm kind of good. You know, I just think I understand what it's for. I understand it's too much money for Floyd to walk away from. It's too much money for Conor McGregor to walk away from. Speaking of walking away, that man says if he beats Floyd, he's gonna retire. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things to me. I have to see that to believe it. Because people who get hit in the head for a living, for whatever reason, they seem to like it, and they can't stop doing it. Like for what Roy Jones Jr. is probably gonna fight like in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? He's gonna like pull up in a parking lot somewhere and like give up the bum that's in the that's sitting on the curve of the gas station some gloves and be like, let's go, and then film it and like, you know, try to charge you for it. Like, this dude won't stop fighting. And like Floyd was done. Floyd was done after Manny Pacquiao, wasn't he? Nope. There was always the next challenge. And some of these dudes, man, they're such, you know, competitive. They're so driven by competing, you know, and being the best. And you know, for Floyd's sake, I can understand how 50-0 is just a pretty number. It's a pretty nice round number. Although, can we get into it? This shouldn't count. Like this shouldn't be a thing that goes to your. Although I understand it's a boxing match, but this shouldn't count towards your record as a boxer. You know what I'm saying? Like at the ground level of everything, you're fighting a dude who is 0-0 as a boxer. I don't care about, you know, the fact that he fight, because in that case, that's like saying Floyd could fight Triple H from the WWE or one of those cats, because they are in a, you know, I guess kind of a combat sport. I know people hearing this that love MMA or love boxing. I can't believe you're comparing those two things. I'm not. I'm just saying, people who do this for a living, you shouldn't just. They get hit though. They fall off of stuff and they get injured and all that kind of stuff. You shouldn't just be able to like, okay, now I've beaten this guy because he's Conor McGregor. I don't know. It's weird. And then people have their like people letting their morality get into this thing. I saw what's that kid's name? LG Granderson. Is that his name? It's probably not, huh? The dude, the black dude that's on Sports Nation with the dreads. Like he's all on some old. I'm getting all high and mighty because they was using slurs. I guess Floyd called your man a fag, and like when is that gonna stop being a thing? Be honest with you. You know what I mean? It's like he's not calling him a homosexual. And even if he was, it's like as a homosexual, you gotta kind of like stop allowing that to be an insult to people. You know what I mean? It's like it's just now that's kind of like a regular thing. Like some people are straight, some people are gay. And then people use words, man. And everyone now is so caught up on words and symbols. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing that we're going through now with these flags and these statues. I saw Andrew Young on Anderson Cooper show the other day, and he said something that you guys heard me say many a time. Like, man, there's just bigger issues, man. And he went a bit further because obviously he's more well versed in. It was an ambassador and all these things, so he's much more well versed in the things that you kind of give up when you do these things. He started talking about like how Obamacare is the way it is because people was talking about Confederate flag here in Georgia, things that I didn't know about. That he was talking about how things end up kind of being a trade-off. Like you focus so much on these symbols, but then the things that are actually causing people to struggle in their everyday lives get missed. And if there's one dude that I'm gonna listen to, is that dude. You know what I mean? And I don't know how many of you guys know this story, and I'll get back to the sports here in just a second. I don't know how many of you guys know this story, but I saw this on PBS. Andrew Young was going to the University of Georgia to be honored for something. And in the time he was down there, and it had something to do with a protest that they were holding at the University of Georgia way back in the day when, you know, you couldn't be black and go to that school. And the wildest thing happened. Somebody pulled out some footage of Andrew Young, and the footage was of them out there, you know, marching or protesting or whatnot. And Andy Young got cold. Some white boy just came up and just cold cocked my man and just knocked him into next week. Like almost literally knocked him into next week, to the point. Here's the ill part about it, that homeboy said he didn't even know that happened until he saw that tape of it happening to him. Like he ends up in the hospital, knocked out, not even knowing how he got there, why he was there. I was like, damn. We talking 40 years later, this dude is just finding out. And then he saw it and was like, I'm mad as hell. Like he got mad all over again because he couldn't get mad the first time because he didn't know what happened. And because it was so much like commotion, it's protest and everybody's chanting and holding signs, no one saw what happened to him. I guess no one except for the person who filmed it. And, maybe it was a white dude because it was but the person who found it in the University of Georgia archives. So maybe it was some white dude that filmed it. And he was like, I ain't gonna front on my dude. My dude got a good one off on this protester. So, we're just gonna throw this in the pile. And then like 30 years later, they find it. But anyway, people like him, John Lewis, man, who really went through it. Yeah, I'm gonna listen, man. And people who are still in it, they're still in the policy side of it. I'm all about that. Like people who understand that it can't just be about emotion. You can't just be mad because, they have a statue. Oh, I can't believe they got the statue up. Yeah, cool. The statues can come down, but like, what's next? What's the next part of that? That there are other things that need to be done that have nothing to do with them statues. And if you're keeping it real about this stuff, they're now in Charlottesville meeting about this Robert E. Lee statue, when they kind of probably could be meeting about poverty. They could be taking that time to meet about mass incarceration, mandatory minimum sentences. They could probably be taking that time to meet about those things. But y'all want these statues now. These white folks got y'all ribbed up to get these statues down. So all right, let's go now. Christopher Columbus, George Washington, like your man said, get George Washington, get them down. Let's go. So anyway, back to this fight thing. I started to, have my man have Callaway call in and talk to me about this, but I just really don't care. I don't care if Floyd wins. And I think that's what this whole thing pretty much boils down to. They've played this thing. They've played this thing probably as perfect as you can. Whereas, you can kind of draw a racial line, right? Down the middle of this thing. Whereas we're talking Floyd has got he's got black people who, ride with Floyd. I walked into, if you guys are watching right now on Facebook Live, you see this hat I'm wearing, right? It's the same logo that's on this microphone. It's the same logo that's, like you see everywhere from my show, right? But I walked into the store yesterday to get me a sandwich or something, and this young dude just hollers at me. All right, man, money team. I was like, why is he yelling? And I thought about, he's illiterate. He doesn't understand what he's seeing. But like, there's that part of it. But then there's the people on the black people side that just want to see Floyd get embarrassed, because there's this thing where you can't be great and let people know about it. You have to be humbled. That's why everybody lost their mind when Ronda Rousey lost. People got crazy. Like now, people still won't let the Falcons get over that 28-3 loss, which, by the way, you probably shouldn't, because that was pathetic. But people love to try to see people humbled. That's why football season just brings out the weirdos, man. You guys get real weird and stupid around football season, and it has me longing for basketball season. Anyway, speaking of football season, my man Bill Bender, Sporting News, national college football writer. He's going to join me at the bottom of the hour, so make sure you stick around for that. We're going to ask him to help us get ready for college football season. The most, I guess, morally conflicting part of my sports year. The part where I'm just satisfied being not satisfied, but I'm just accepting of the fact that I'm a hypocrite, because I hate the NCAA model as it stands, but I love me some football, man, and I like college football. It's not. I don't look at college football the way I look at college basketball in the way it differs from the professional side of things. I can much more accept it, because there's much more enjoyment to be had out of college football than college basketball. College basketball is a train wreck. I mean, all the way around. It's a freaking train wreck until tournament time, and then people get excited about, upsets and Cinderellas, and they attach all these words and phrases to it, madness, to it to make you buy in. Everybody's got brackets, so that's another element to it. And football is just football. Now there are elements of it. The quarterback playing college, of course, is not exceptional, but you get some, especially down here. You get the SEC football, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. It may not be honed yet, but whatever. You get to see big people do amazing things that the human body probably shouldn't be able to do. And for me, I'm all right with that. I just don't like the other side of the crazy stupidness when it comes to, I just don't like the other stuff when it comes to the amateurism part of it. And I asked my man Bill Bender about it at the bottom of the hour. We got a couple minutes to get there, though. If you guys want to join the show, please, welcome. 404-902-8104 is the text line. 404-902-8104. You can also leave comments and questions below my Facebook live stream. Go to my Facebook page at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE, or if you're listening to me right now via Spreaker.com, sign or just click that little thought bubble icon. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room. And don't forget to sign up for your free Spreaker accounts as well. It's quite easy, and that way, when the show goes live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock, you'll get an alert to let you know it's time to rock and roll. And then also click the little heart icon as well. Whether you're listening live or whether you're listening on demand, just click that little heart icon and let me know that you're enjoying the show. Even if you're not, go ahead and lie to me. We got to update the national anthem protest as well. We kind of do that every show because it's still a topic, and I think it's going to be a topic for a while. Like I mentioned on Monday, it's going to be a topic until football season really gets underway, until it sinks into people that your man is not coming back to the NFL. And then you've got a decision to make. You got to, be like me. You got to figure out whether you're going to be comfortable in your hypocrisy or not. Knowing, seeing football for what it is, and then still consuming it. Understanding that there is a level of racism, of elitism within the most popular sport in America. And at any given time, you can kind of brush it under the rug. You can kind of hide it for as long as you want to. But at any given time, it'll rear its head. And now, you're seeing it for what it is. You got to deal with it. Colin Kaepernick is not in the league. They did the march or the protest outside the NFL headquarters on Wednesday, and I asked the question I asked today. I asked today the question that I've been asking. Let me say it that way. To what end? What was going to be the purpose? Now, the NCAA, they came up with some stuff. Kind of like, I guess, on the fly a little bit. Their interim president, a man named Derek Johnson. But did he take Rachel Dolezal's place? How's he interim? Anyway, the interim president, Derek Johnson, he said, what we want to see happen, this is a quote, what we want to see happen is what everyone who supports Kaepernick wants to see, that there's fairness. We want to make sure there's fairness to ensure that Kaepernick or no player is ever prevented from having a voice to express their opinions, particularly around social issues. We'd hate to see an entity like the NFL use their power to collude and suffocate free speech. Well, I mean, that's kind of the mode of sports, period, man. Like, you can't criticize referees. They're gonna fine you. There's plenty of things that you don't have free speech about. So this is not something new as it relates to sports as a whole. What it is, where it is hypocritical, because I read your man Jim Brown. He's back doing Jim Brown things. Like, I love when people just unmask themselves, man. You know what I mean? I love it, man, because in certain forums, you build, like, especially in sports, you build people up to be these titans and these demigods of people, when really, man, they're flawed as hell. And Jim Brown, like, this Trump stuff, oh my God, it's bringing people to the forefront, to let you know who they are, not who they were. Because I'm done. Like, I'm done with that whole concept. But I've never been a part of it. But the whole concept of I need to respect you just because you've been alive a long time, nah, it don't work like that. Like that, respect is an ever evolving thing. You know what I mean? And the same way you got it, you can lose it. You know, you were out here brown nosing with your man Donald Trump, who has blatantly, and now even more so, like this dude just came back after the transgender folks. He's come back now. He's trying to like disappear this thing Obama did for the dreamers, the immigrants that are here and they're going to school, bettering themselves. He's like, whatever, that's 800,000 people. He's trying to just, whatever, man. This dude has already told you, man, if it ain't white, it ain't right. You know what I mean? Those wonderful people who was marching with them Nazis, and he's all about them. Yeah. But meanwhile, these folks, him, George Foreman and all these folks like, man, Trump's my guy. Cool. But anyway, Jim Brown felt the need to explain, I guess this is to TMZ maybe, they caught up with him, that the NFL is a business and players have to choose between being an activist and a player. Wrong, pimp. That's the most wrong thing ever. Wrong. Where's my little wrong button at? I don't use that enough around here. Right. Wrong. I'll say it again. It's not about activism, because people in the NFL, they have an opportunity. Even the league itself, they take the opportunity any chance they get to be activists, right? All October, we're going to see these grown men running around wearing a bunch of pink. You know why? Because breast cancer is important. Even though, well, they want you to think it's important. Even though of all the merchandise they sell at the high school level, Pop Warner level, these kids running around with pink on. Y'all know what I'm saying. 5% goes back to what, Susan G. Komen? 5% out of all of it. The same way after Ray Rice punched his old lady. Every other commercial, it was a PSA about, Chris Carter's on PSAs crying about domestic violence. That's a social issue. Got nothing to do with football. Animal cruelty, when Mike Vick got suspended. That was a big issue. Bullying. Things like that, man. Like, so the NFL, no. The league as a whole has chosen to be activist at times. But for whatever reason, this Kaepernick thing is different. And I can't put my... there, you know what? There it is. It's about race. Oh, can't touch that. 70% of our players, of the 1,500 players in this league, black. But if they start reminding you that they're not just black football players, but they black people in America, that's a problem. Speaking of being a black person in America, and I'll get back to this after I talk to my man Bill Bender at the bottom of the hour, because we're going to break here in just a second. Your man Jim Brown goes on to say, I'm an American. I don't desecrate my flag. Yours. And my national anthem. It's like, Jim, you got to hear the words, B. You got to hear the words to the whole song, my man, before you start claiming it, because that song actually disrespects your black ass. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do anything against the flag and the national anthem. But sit down, man. Sit down, old man. Your time has come. You took your picture with Muhammad Ali and Lou Alcindor and them. Now, sit your ass down. Let's keep it moving, because, like, everything that he's talking about helps no one. Well, I don't say it helps no one. It justifies the people, and it gives credence to the people who want to keep talking about flags and want to keep talking about anthems and troops and these things. But you open your mouth, you say Tamir Rice, you say Michael Brown, you say Philando Castile, you say Sandra Bland, you open your mouth and you say those names, people get stupid. You know what I mean? They turn into the hearing and impaired at that point. It's all good. You know what I mean? Like, I understand where I stand around this piece. Very, very much so. So as that goes, I go. Let's take a break, man. Let's come back and let's talk about some college football, man. It's a sports show. Let's talk about some sports. You know what I mean? So let's come back and talk about some college football. My man Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News. He's going to join me here next on the One Mic with Big Mike show, here live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Spreaker.com. Download that Spreaker app. You can even hear me on TuneIn, and of course my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. I'll be right back.
I am one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Every year, millions of teens work to earn extra money and learn important skills. But certain jobs can jeopardize your health or well-being. So know the rules. First, the hours you can work. If you're 14 or 15, you can only work for 3 hours on a school day and for 8 hours on a non-school day. Also, if you're 14 or 15, you may not work before 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m., except from June 1st through Labor Day, when you can work later, up to 9 p.m. Next, and really important, hazardous jobs. If you're under 18, jobs such as roofing, operating dangerous equipment, and most driving jobs are off limits. So work safe. For more information, call the U.S. Department of Labor's toll-free helpline at 1-866-4US-WAGE or visit youthrules.dol.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Labor.
And now, back to One Mic
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
with Big Mike.
Friday, here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Yeah. Trying to get in touch with my man, Bill Bender, man. Sporting News college football expert. Just tried to hit him, but Johnny went to voicemail, so let me shoot him a text real quick while I'm talking to y'all. Anyway, before I took a break, oh, by the way, you can hear the show if you don't get a chance to hear the entire show. If you missed any show this week or any show that I've done, period, listen on demand on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, tune in, OneMicWithBigMike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and of course, YouTube. And, the live stream will be up on the Facebook page forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Don't forget the One Mic with Big Mike Fantasy Football League. Send him a text real quick. One Mic with Big Mike Fantasy Football League is on and popping. Send me the emails, man, to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. I'll put fantasy football in the subject line, and I'll go ahead and shoot you off a little a link or whatever to get you into the league so you can sign up. I got 3 or 4 slots left, man. I just want to get that out of the way so I don't have to worry about it, because I don't want my league to get canceled, especially now that I'm this close to filling it up. I was, it was a little sketchy there for a minute. I wasn't really sure if y'all was going to come through, but, a couple fellas, young ladies have come through. My man Big L said he's going to try to help me, fill up the rest of the league. So, just if you trying to play some fantasy football, holler at your man. All right, so while we wait on Bill Bender to call back, hopefully he does. I hope I dialed the right number. Oh, I didn't. Dang, gone it. I didn't dial the right number, man. Dang it. I'm such a freaking dyslexic. The last number in this man's phone number, sorry, y'all, is 9. And for whatever reason, I put 6. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Let me put that in my mouth. All right, so let's see if we can get him on the line right quick, man. This is going to be awkward as hell because I usually try to call the guests and introduce because I haven't spoken to him before. So I usually try to call the guests and speak to him prior to and letting them know that I'm going to put him on the air. But since we're already back, we're just going to have to let this ride. Hey, Bill, how are you, man?
I'm doing well.
This is Mike.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good, man. I was just telling the people that I usually try to call during the commercial break, but since my dyslexia kicked in and I inverted the last number of your phone number, so I just called a perfect stranger, wondering who the hell I am. So So
That's
that happened.
okay.
All right. So I got my man on the line, Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News. Follow him, guys, on Twitter, as I do, at Bill Bender 92. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. All right. So the most important question I'm going to ask you tonight, Bill, is are you watching this quote unquote fight tomorrow?
We're on the fence with it. I got a couple buddies that ordered it, and they want me to come over, but we're between some things, and obviously watch a little college football tomorrow too as well. Somebody asked me what my interest level was. I'm gonna say it's about a 6. So I think I'm gonna sucker it in and end up going over there tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I mean, so that means you're not paying for it then.
No, I think I got to bring over like an appetizer or chips or something, some beer,
yeah.
and I can get away with that. But intrigued to a certain degree. I think most people think Mayweather's going to win, and I don't see how he can't. But I will say this: if I'm going to watch it, and I'm not a big boxing guy, I want to see somebody get knocked out.
Oh well, well, it is Floyd. So yeah. Anyway, man, my wife just sent me a text. Are we getting a fight? I was like, please. I hate when sports questions my intelligence, and I feel like this is what this is doing. I feel insulted by this personally, so I'm taking it very personally, and I'll be watching Netflix tomorrow night. All right. Enough about that. You mentioned it. We got football tomorrow. We got some college football coming up here. South Florida, San Jose State. We got Stanford and Rice. In any of those two games, is there anything worth watching?
Well, I mean, with South Florida, I mean, Quentin Flowers is like a dark horse Heisman candidate. I think he's a guy that'll, and it's Charlie Strong's debut, so that's probably worth a little bit. And then, Stanford, I'm really interested in Bryce Love. I think he's a guy that steps in for Christian McCaffrey. He's going to keep that running game going. Stanford, I've seen them, a couple people pick them to win the Pac-12, and when you're dealing with a guy like David Shaw, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, he's a guy that's been steady, and they could just as easily win that Pac-12 North as Washington.
Absolutely, and Pac-12 has been a lot stronger in coming years. I'm going to ask you about that here in just a second. I also want to ask you about the most important position on the football field, the quarterback position. We got some returning first-year quarterbacks. I want to know who you see as taking big strides or significant strides forward. We got Hurts and Francois. We got Eason down here in Georgia. Who amongst the returning first-year guys do you see taking major strides this year?
I was watching ESPN today, and I heard Marcus Spears, talk about how he's picking Jalen Hurts to win the Heisman, and I don't. Wow. That's not my pick necessarily, but
in Alabama?
That's
weird.
And I can't fault him, and here's why: because he's already set up for success. I mean, he's going to have a big year. I think the new offensive coordinator will make a difference, and he's a guy that I do expect to take that leap. If Eason does that, and I'm glad you brought him up, because if he does that, Georgia wins the East. So, I mean, that's another guy that definitely needs to take that leap. His completion percentage has to go up. He can't just be a hit-or-miss deep ball guy.
Now, how are they looking on the outside? Because that was one of the issues last year. Like, his outside weapons didn't impress me at all last year.
No, but they have the running game to set that up, and I think a good one. Godwin, they're going to be all right there, and big tight end, and a couple guys in the running game, and Chubb and Michelle, they can get going. So I think, like I said, it comes on Eason. Fromm was pretty good in spring and was pushing him a little bit, and I think that'll help. But, again, that's a team with so much talent. A lot of people picked them to win the East. I did too. But I did. That was one pick, Mike, where I felt like I was kind of just going with the crowd, and that's why I felt a little uneasy about it.
Yeah, don't do that. That's a Georgia thing. Trust me, I'm down here. Every year, Georgia's going to win the East. Every year. Speaking right now with national college football writer for the Sporting News, my man Bill Bender. First time on the show, and I definitely appreciate him taking the time out. Let's go to some people, to some teams that will be breaking in first time starters. Clemson, Miami, Florida, Notre Dame. Who's going to do the best job of finding that next guy to fill the void that was left by the guy that left last year, or that's going now?
Well, nobody envies what Kelly Bryant's going to have to do at Clemson, because you're replacing a legend in Deshaun Watson, the guy that was the best player in college football the last 2 years, and really a guy that I think is going to be very successful for the Houston Texans. So I think Bryant will be fine within that program. I saw Wimbush at the spring game, really like his game. He's a guy that can really, he's going to have some big receivers to throw to. I think Notre Dame's going to put up a lot of points. Florida, I don't know what to tell you. We might see three quarterbacks next Saturday night. So
wow,
that's a tough call. And then if Rozier is who I kind of think he's going to be, then I'm feeling, I'm not the only one that thinks like this, but Miami might end up in Charlotte and finally getting that ACC championship game for the first time.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me, man, that Kaya didn't come back. I mean, everybody thought maybe he should come back and get that next year under Mark Richt, and now you have Mark Richt starting off. But now you're saying that this team around a brand new quarterback could find themselves in the ACC championship game.
Well, we'll find out early. I know they've got a couple tough games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they play Florida State on the 16th. I'm sure there'll be plenty of heat behind that one. And then get into the usual Coastal Division matchups. I mean, but when I say that means they could get there with like an 8-4 record. I mean, that's how up and down that division can be. I mean, 8-4 can get you to Charlotte out of the Coastal, and 8-4, that ain't going to happen in the Atlantic, though. You're probably going to get 10 to win that division.
Absolutely. Speaking of the divisions and the conferences, around these parts, there's this what I've called for many years this SEC myth, and I think the myth is starting to more and more each and every year be dispelled more by the Big Ten, by the Pac-12. Around here, people don't stay up late enough to watch Pac-12 football, but they're playing some good football and have been out on the West Coast. I want to get your perception on what I'm calling the SEC myth. Is it on its way to being over, and has the SEC come? I should probably just say the SEC West, right? Come back to the Pac, and everyone else have just pretty much caught up to them talent wise as well.
Well, I think the days of the SEC running the show for a decade, like they did, are over.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I still think if I'm taking a conference top to bottom, they're probably number one. But but if the ACC comes out and says we're the best conference right now, I can't argue. And the Big Ten has 3 playoff contenders in one division, 3 legitimate playoff contenders in one division.
Absolutely.
And I think the gap between the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten, I think they're all ahead of the Pac-12, even though there is good football there, like you said, and the Big 12. But I've been saying this all summer. It's kind of a year-to-year thing. Next year, what if Michigan wins the Rose Bowl, Ohio State wins a playoff game, and Wisconsin wins a New Year's Day 6 game, and Penn State's in there? Then we're probably saying the Big Ten's the best conference.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about Auburn, because that team, that name keeps coming up as this year the team that could unseat Alabama. I'm of the mindset that I've got to see it to believe it. But what would make someone make that claim? What about Auburn this year make someone make that claim?
Jarrett Stidham. They've got the quarterback in place that they like.
Okay.
And if he is who, you know what I mean? But we got to see it. I'll be the first to admit, I don't know if it's going to have me on after I say this, but a couple of years ago, I picked Auburn to win the SEC because I got sucked into the Jeremy Johnson hype.
Oh, yes.
But I wasn't I'll say this, I wasn't the only one.
You weren't. You definitely weren't.
And then I watched that first game, and I was like, this was a very bad pick. And that's why I think the fascination around Stidham is so interesting, because they play Clemson in the second week. He can get the ball down the field a little bit, and they've got an awesome running game. So factor all those things in, and then, like I said, I could be talking to you in 2 or 3 weeks if I come back on again and say, man, that Auburn pick was horrible. But we're still talking about a conference. Let's be clear. I still think it's Alabama and everybody else when we're talking about the SEC.
Absolutely. Talking right now with Bill Bender of the Sporting News. He is a national college football writer. Follow him, you guys, on Twitter at BILLBENDER92. Let's go back up north, Big Ten country. Year 3 of the Harbaugh era. What will constitute a successful season for Jim Harbaugh's guys? Urban Meyer's got J.T. Barrett back for like his 9th year of eligibility some kind of way. We talk about James Franklin and his boys. They're going to be pissed off after what happened last year, being omitted from the playoffs. Wisconsin's always a player. I'm a guy who kind of likes Iowa football. I like that tough, hard-nosed football they play. I don't necessarily know what Michigan State is going to come back with this year after a bad year. What is going to constitute a successful year for the Michigan Wolverines, though?
I'll dispel something real quick. And I'm sure you've heard this as well. There's this narrative that Harbaugh hasn't finished higher than 3rd in his division. I got 2 words for that. Who cares? They were literally 6 inches away from winning the Big Ten East last year.
Yeah.
I think it's a team that he's cleaned up a mess in a hurry and turned them to, at minimum, what they were under Lloyd Carr. Mm-hmm. And I think they've got, at maximum, in a few, maybe one or two more cycles, they'll be a national championship contender-type team. I think they could get to the playoffs. So that's where they are. Ohio State has more talent than everybody else. Penn State has the best offense. Wisconsin's going to be solid and probably win the Big Ten West. And if you're looking for that magical sleeper, I mean, Northwestern could be that team. But again, that's another one that I'm hesitant to even say that because, you know, you're going to come back to me in a couple months, and if they're 7-6, you're going to be like, what were you even talking about?
Brian Kelly, is this his proverbial piss or get off the pot year at Notre Dame, or are we in a situation where at some point Notre Dame is going to have to accept what they are? They're not what they once were. The gold helmets and the touchdown Jesus thing just doesn't have the same allure as it did at one point, one place in time. Which one is it going to be? Is it his time to go and they keep trying to find that magic again? Or is Notre Dame just going to be like, you know what, we're a middling program. That's what we are now. No way around it.
Well, I think those two things kind of tie together. I mean, Notre Dame isn't that far removed from making the BCS championship game, though that exposes the talent gap that existed between them and Alabama.
Did it ever?
Kelly will be on the hot seat if they lose early to Georgia and Michigan State, but there it is. I mean, I went to Notre Dame's spring game, and to me, and admittedly biased, you're talking to a Catholic Ohio kid that, you know, grew up watching the Big Ten and loving watching Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Notre Dame. So it's still a cool place. It really is. But I think they need to make it an inhospitable place for opponents. They got to stop losing to Northwestern and Tulsa and Louisville and everybody else at home. And I think that's why that Georgia game is such a big statement game, because Georgia's got high hopes. They're going up to South Bend. And I think the winner of that game gets a huge bump. I don't care what they're ranked. It could be like 15 and unranked. I still think the winner of that game will get a nice bump.
That's crazy. I always call Georgia like the Notre Dame of the South because they always, every year, they always get overrated in these high expectations. And then by the end of the year, it's like, okay, here we go. It was like fire Mark Richt for like a decade and a half every year. You know what I mean? Speaking of high expectations, though, let's talk about Tom Herman. Tom Herman takes over at Texas, moves over from Houston. They got all the resources. They got all the money. They got a nice little quarterback out there, young quarterback. I didn't even mention him as a returning one of the first year returning guys, the quarterback they got out there in Texas. What's reasonable? What's a reasonable expectation for the Texas squad this year?
Well, this year there'll be that transition. I really like that hire, though. I think Tom Herman's a perfect fit for Texas. He's going to recruit well there. I've talked to him, you know, from his time as Ohio State's offensive coordinator through the run at Houston. He's very charismatic, very candid all the time. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that he doesn't, you know, sugarcoat much. He wasn't doing that at the Big 12 media days as well. There's an opportunity for a lot of Big 12 coaches now because Bob Stoops is out. He kind of ran the show there since 1998, really. So if you're Mike Gundy, you're thinking I have a chance. If you're Lincoln Riley, you're thinking I have a chance. If you're Bill Snyder, you're thinking I have a chance. And I would even say West Virginia's in that mix. So there are 4 or 5 teams there that can win the Big 12. And when they play the shootouts that they do, they're highly entertaining. My wife's a huge Big 12 fan. I'm not necessarily a fan of that style of football, but
I hate it.
You got to score to win, and I think that's what Tom Herman does best.
Yeah, I can't do a lot of Big 12 football. I got to take it in small doses because at some point I'm like, just please tackle someone or stop someone at some point. Like, and it doesn't ever seem to happen. But you mentioned Bob Stoops. What happened there? What happened? How did Bob Stoops leave so, to me, unexpectedly and abruptly? And you mentioned the effect, but what legitimate effect did you see that happening on that having on the team? And of course, they have a Heisman Trophy candidate in Baker Mayfield at quarterback. What's going to be the effect it has on him as well?
Well, you know, I think there's a cynical side to everybody, but with Bob Stoops, it's he just wanted to retire. I mean, keep in mind, and that's what my sources told me too. There was no like forcing out or foul play or anything like that. He's a guy you got to remember. His dad died on the sideline coaching high school football.
Did not know that.
You know, he wants to be around his kids more. If I was in my mid-50s and that rich, I'd sit on a beach too, I think. But, you know, obviously, who knows? He could get back into coaching. I know people make that assumption. But, you know, in this case, I think it'll be interesting to see if that sets a trend where some other coaches who have long tenures do the same.
Wow. We got a couple more minutes left here with Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Make sure you guys are following him on the old social media, Twitter, at Bill Bender 92. All right, we got to talk Heisman before I let you go, though. We know the big names. We know Lamar Jackson. We know about Donald, the kid from USC. Of course, we talked about Jalen Hurts earlier. Francois down in Florida State. The running back at Penn State. Talk to me about some guys, because there's always this guy, right? There's always this guy that no one's talking about today, but by the time it's time to go to New York, we're all about this guy. Who is that? Who is this guy this year, or maybe guys?
Well, I mean, Donald and Lamar are certainly among the favorites. I think people are kind of underrating Lamar a little bit. Lamar Jackson's going to be
because of last year, the end of last year.
Yeah. I think he's a guy that if they beat Clemson, he'll be right back up there. I mean, I was talking a little bit about Oklahoma State earlier. I think either or Mason Rudolph or James Washington get real interesting, because if you were asking me which team is the best bet to score the most points in college football this year, I think it's Oklahoma State. I think they're just going to put up an absurd amount of points with that offense, and with that comes stats, and sometimes the Heisman Trophy is a statistical award. But other than that, I think you get into some guys like the Penn State guys like Barkley. Barkley's probably my favorite player to watch this year, because it's like watching Ezekiel Elliott, but maybe a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and he just pops off the screen, doesn't he?
Yeah, man. Okay, we got. I wasn't sure if I was going to ask you about this, but I've got to, because you're a guy who's closely associated with college football, and I watch and I read a lot, but in one simple question, like, how the hell is there still a football program at Baylor?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a complex answer. I was around Jim Grobe in the 90s in college. His son was my roommate in college, and I got a kind of a firsthand look at the repair that they're trying to go through. And I think the key to it is letting Matt Rule clean that up off the field. I do think he's the right guy for that job, and just making sure those kind of things never happen again, and distancing themselves from the Art Briles, regime, or whatever you want to call it. I think as a guy that has a daughter, those stories always sicken me, because you put yourself, what if that happens to my daughter type situation. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an overall problem with college football, where I think the schools, particularly in the Power Five, or however you want to put it, they can work together to come up with a more uniform suspension policy, or tougher penalties on coaches that allow this to happen on campus.
Absolutely. And the other thing about it, because there's still, like, I was watching Outside the Lines the other day, up until like a few months ago, there's new reports on gang rapes and these type of things. And I guess my question in particular with a Baylor program, a program that was nowhere and then got somewhere prominent, what the prospect of going back after experiencing that success, how do you clean up a program knowing that at the end of the day, you're Baylor? This is not Penn State. That was always going to be Penn State with or without Jerry Sandusky. That Penn State logo was going to mean something. Baylor's pretty new to the scene of winning and getting all these accolades. Would those people down there accept going back and trade that for a quasi clean program?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I'm sure some will take the wins. I'll give you a hypothetical. And like I said, I went to Ohio University at Mac School, and I always joke with some guys. I say, if you give me 50 wins over 4 years at Ohio University, but you kind of know you're going on probation, and not for that kind of stuff, not for sexual assault violations and hiding that. I'm just talking about like the recruiting violations, right?
Yeah, like some money or something, yeah.
Yeah, like if it was boosters and that kind of stuff. You know what? Like, as a fan, as a writing objective journalist, I'd say no. But as a fan, I might take that. Knowing that my favorite team's going to win 50 games out of that conference. So I think a lot of the fans use that same kind of rationalization process. But I think it's important to remember when we're dealing with sexual assaults or what happened at Penn State, that we can never, or anything else of that nature, we can never accept that. And it can never be enough. There can never be enough done to make sure that other campuses it doesn't happen. I mean, you and I both know not every team is going to be perfect and things happen off the field.
Right.
but not on that level.
And the final thing I got for you, I don't do predictions on the show, but I leave it up to my guests to do so. When it's all said and done, who is my Final Four? What am I left with?
Oh, man. I did chalk. I mean, you can see our bowl projections for Sporting News. I had Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State, which, I know Alabama and Florida State play, and then USC. I think the Trojans are set with Darnold. I think he's going to have a big year. But you know what? I give you those picks, and I've been telling people this all summer. Kind of hope I'm wrong, because, I mean, if those 4 teams go, it means that the season was probably pretty status quo and there weren't a lot of shakeups. I'd like to see a couple shakeups this year and have some fun with it.
Don't we all? My man, Bill, we're gonna have to do it again, my man. I appreciate you taking the time out to join the One Mike with Big Mike show, man. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's Bill Bender, ladies and gentlemen, from the Sporting News, our national college football writer. Follow him on Twitter at BillBender92. We're gonna take a break. Come back. Well, not right now. We're gonna take a break in a second here. I'll come back. We're gonna finish up this conversation about the national anthem protest. I hate. We gotta find something else to call that. we gotta find a different label. You know what I mean, to put on this, because it's not a protest of the national anthem. And I think so many times the things get convoluted because we mislabel them. It's not a national anthem protest. And I don't know what happened to the phone line just now before I let go of Bill, but we'll figure it out. We got to figure out something to call this, man. I'll think on it. I'll think on it over the weekend, and we'll relabel this whole thing and stop calling it, because that's what I have written on my notes: national anthem protest. But it's not a protest of a song or flag or troops or any of those things. It's protesting injustice in America as it pertains to black people and their treatment by law enforcement. That is what it is. That's a little long in the tooth, or it's a long-winded name, so we got to figure out a way to condense it without being stupid about it and calling it something that it's not. So after the break, I'll come back with On This Day, of course. We'll get into that. I got a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not trying to take this thing all the way to 9 o'clock tonight, to be honest with you. I think it's some football about to be played tonight. But I want to talk about what's going on over at ESPN, their level of hypocrisy. Ezekiel Elliott, his appeal is getting ready to start. He was granted days off from practice, to go handle that business. But the NFL still, they're doing that thing that they do, man. What I was talking about when all this stuff first happened, like if they suspend this dude, it's time for the transparency. It's time for the whole kit and caboodle to come out. And if it doesn't now, they trying to like hold back stuff, and I'll get to it. There was some fallout from the Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie Irving trade yesterday. So I want to touch on that for a second, as well as Mike Vick with his haircut. You know what I mean? Got him a gig. See, he was right. You cut your hair, you get a gig. Nah, that was still the most foolish thing ever in history of life. And I did not get to this thing on Muhammad Ali yesterday, man, on Wednesday. And I really want to try to get to it today. So maybe I will go close to 9 o'clock. Dang it. I didn't want to. I wanted to stop and watch football and start my weekend off. But, sometimes things take precedence. So once again, thanks to my man, Bill Bender. First time on the show. We're going to definitely have him back on during the season to kind of get us, keep us caught up on what's going on with college football. This is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here live on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Also on TuneIn and my website, onemikewithbigmike.com. My text number, if you guys want to get in contact with me during the show, is 404-902-8104. 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room while you're listening on Spreaker. You'll see a little thought bubble icon. Just click on that. It'll get you up inside the live interactive chat room. Also, man, while you clicking stuff, click those little share icons as well. There's one for Facebook. There's one for Twitter. And share me with all your friends. I got to get my numbers up so my numbers look right. You know what I'm saying? Got some big things planned for the future of the show, and it's all predicated on the numbers. So about 2 minutes from now, I'll be back with On This Day.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit additional exposure? The One Mike with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertiser. One Mike with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemikewithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different. One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism, maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
It's that Friday sound, man. Quitting time. Getting ready for the weekend. It should be a pretty nice weekend here. I got to get outside and cut some grass, man. Yeah. It was real cloudy today, which means it was cool. And I guess it's because of the hurricane, man. Hurricane Harvey either is about to touch down. Look what they said about Hurricane Harvey. It's going to touch down. They anticipated going back out to sea, reloading with some more power, and then coming back. So, like, for next week, man, these cats, man, that's out here in Texas, yeah, man, they gonna be, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a bad look, man. For y'all folks who don't believe in this climate change stuff and this global warming and whatnot, get your mind right. It's real, man. These storms are getting more and more violent. Like, think about that. It's gonna come, do dirt, leave, and come back and hit you again. I'm not a praying man. I'm not a religious man, and this is one of the reasons why. Like, people's like, pray for Texas. Why? It's gonna happen. This is happening, dude. There's nothing that whoever you're talking to inside your head can do about this. This is happening. Just my thing is be smart, man. If they tell you to get the hell out, bounce. Don't be on. My family's been here for 13 decades. You gotta bounce, cuz you gotta dip. Don't forget the show is available. This show is available on demand. If you don't get a chance to hear the entire episode, or if you need to like stop and come back or whatnot, you can always hear it on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, or the app for Spreaker, TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Stitcher, as well as my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. So yeah, it's time. That time in the show, because we had a guest last segment. We usually do on this day at the bottom of the hour, but since we had my man Bill Bender, we had to move it to the top of the hour. So here we go.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day.
And now I'm distracted. I looked up at the TV. NFL Network is doing, like, I don't know, a player's life or something. The Mike Vick version. All right, on this day is going to be short and sweet today, man. Only two things apparently happened on today in sports. On this day in 1946, Ben Hogan won the PGA in Portland, Oregon. It was his very first major golf title. Isn't Ben Hogan the dude that was on Bagger Vance? Was that Matt Damon's character? Or Matt Damon was playing against Ben Hogan or something like that? I don't know. Slave movies, they all just run together for me. Magical slave movies. On this day in 1985, Dwight Gooden, the doctor, he became the youngest pitcher to win 20 Major League Baseball games in a season. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your final edition of On This Day for this week. I didn't even know he had a sister. He had a little fat, chubby little sister. Mike Vick does. Oh, man. Anyway, getting back to what's going on with Colin Kaepernick. I mentioned the I don't know if you want to call it a demonstration. Let's call it the demonstration that happened outside the league offices on Friday. Or, excuse me, on Wednesday. Today is Friday. On Wednesday. And I mentioned the other day that I don't see what's the next step? Because it kind of feels like Colin Kaepernick is becoming more of a symbol than a person. The more and more people, Jesse Jackson's involved. Like, once Jesse Jackson gets involved in something, like, I start turning the crazy side eye to it. Like, all right, now there must be an angle to this now. There must be some money involved or something. If his crooked ass is involved and his ass trying to get into this, there's a problem there. So again, the NCAA, not the NCAA, the NAACP, they want to sit down with Roger Goodell. They want to try to ensure that this doesn't happen. Now, this man had already told him, look, man, this ain't a league thing. You know what I'm saying? This is a team thing. The teams don't want to sign him. What do y'all think y'all gonna do? And what do you think I'm gonna do in telling my bosses, because he works for them, me telling my bosses that they have to do this to appease you guys? No, sirree, Bob. I said it before and I say it again. I believe my man is done. You know what I mean? And just to kind of sprinkle a little hope into that well of it's not collusion, Shad Khan, your man from the owner of the one of the worst teams in the league, the Jacksonville Jaguars, he said he wouldn't have a problem. Yeah, he said he wouldn't have a problem signing one Colin Kaepernick. When asked by Mike Dempsey of 1010XL if he'd sign off on Kaepernick if that's what the football people wanted, Khan said, quote unquote, absolutely. Problem is, his football people is Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin of fame, Jaguars fame, and then of New York Giants fame, and now back to the the Jaguars in their front office. Yeah, I don't think I think Tom Coughlin ain't trying to mess with that smoke. You know, for what he might describe as smoke. Let me say that, because I don't want to be that guy. I'm not gonna be the shady McCoy. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this. You know, like LaShawn McCoy spoke on this whole situation, this whole Colin Kaepernick thing, right? And I know the instinct of social media is to, again, look at him, join the coon train and all this kind of stuff. Like, here's the thing. Everything he said wasn't inappropriate, in my opinion. But I do think what has happened now is the pool has been pissed in. The punch has been poisoned by the idiots. So now words like patriotism is what I was talking about on Wednesday. These people who are joining in on this movement have to stop invoking the whole patriotism aspect, or the anthem part of it, and the flag part of it. And for players, current, former, whatever, the whole distraction thing, this can't be a distraction when people are up in these places, getting in these locker rooms, getting pulled over, drunk driving, where you could actually kill somebody. Like, people like that kid Josh, whatever his name was, did kill his friend, and Jerry Jones was like, "Nah, that's our man. Have him in here, in the locker room on the sideline." And I'm not fronting on that, man. If you want to support somebody that dude lost his friend. You know what I'm saying? He's responsible for the death of his best friend and causing his best friend's family pain, unimaginable pain. If you want to put your arms around that dude, I'm not gonna front on it. But I will say, if that's not a distraction, someone saying that police shouldn't murder black people and go home, you know, with no type of punishment, that shouldn't be viewed as a distraction. So when Shady McCoy said, when he describes Colin Kaepernick as a guy who's not talented enough for the distraction, his exact quote was, "It's the chaos that comes with it." It's a lot. A team's not trying to win. A team's trying to win, and not have a distraction on the team. As a player, there's certain players that can be on the team with big distractions, and other players, they're not good enough that it's worth it. I think his situation is not good enough to have a team with all the attention that comes along with it. This is the dude who played with Mike Vick coming out of the bank, didn't play football for like 3 years. This is the dude who played with that going on. And you telling me that a team that wants to win, because football fans are stupid. You guys are idiots. You You know what I mean? You the same people who cheered when Josh Brown last year hit a game winner after kicking his pregnant wife and taking notes on it. You know, writing a journal about how he beat his woman up. You guys don't have any morals. You want to win. You want your team to beat the other team so you can go to work on Monday and talk crap to the person who cheers for the other team. You want that feeling. You don't care. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't care about that, you can't make me feel like you care about this guy not standing, which, by the way, he made it very plain and clear as soon as he hit free agency that he's done with that part of the deal. You know what I mean? He's just on to his philanthropy and doing his business. But that ain't good enough. So the problem I have in its entirety with this, because when he sat down that first time, my exact words on this show that Monday after the story broke, that I think Saturday morning, Steve Weiss of the NFL Network broke the story. My exact words were, "I just wish he was better at football." Not saying that he sucked, but what I was saying was, so that there would be no excuse. There would be no excuse that could be made for him not being able to play football, which is what's happening now. Exactly what's going on right now. Well, you know, his QBR, touchdown to interception ratio, and all these things are coming along. Meanwhile, you know what I mean? I can't even find, like, I have to sound like a hater, like I'm hating on Thad Lewis. You know what I mean? And I heard, you know who's an idiot? And I'm gonna get off this in a minute so I can move on and get out of here for the night. Like people, like another dude who people feel like you should be like respectful for their opinion and all, is Bill Polian, man. Bill Polian's an idiot. You know, well, it's not as simple as just signing Colin Kaepernick, because you got to get him in there. You got to take a physical. You got to make sure that he's in shape, and you got to find out where he's at mentally and what his point of view is on the game, and this, that, and the other. And, you know, there's still the whole anthem thing. And I was like, man, shut your ass up, because ain't nobody asked Jay Cutler none of those things. There's a dude that showed up and said, you know what? Psh, yeah, I don't really have to be in the best shape. I'm good. You ain't put him through all that. That dude was getting ready to do TV and just got a call one weekend to come play football. The dude who ain't even want to play, who said his wife had to talk him into it. So with that being said, a dude who wants to play, who by all accounts, people are saying my man Dave Zirin was on my show talking about when he met with Colin Kaepernick, he was in shape, he's working out, he's doing the things that it takes to get back into the NFL. What you got to put him through the ringer for? What you got to do all that first for? You know what I'm saying? That means you just looking for an excuse not to sign the dude at that point. But what do I know? You know what I mean? I won a GM. I won a Super Bowl winning GM and all this kind of things. Man, screw that old ass dude, man. He's the same dude that said, you know, when it was time to renegotiate Andrew Luck's contract, this is a dude who was a GM. Said just sign the bottom of the check and slide it over to him. He started talking about how this dude is indestructible. He's built like a tank and this, that, and the other. Yeah, guess who's not going to start the season on the football field? Yeah, the indestructible, broken spleen, broken shoulder, Andrew Luck. Right there, man. You can't just start believing what these cats say just because, you know what I mean, just because they old. That's ridiculous. You can be stupid and old, man. You can be. I pointed out to you already, Jim Brown from earlier. You know what I mean? And somebody just pointed out on social media a few seconds ago. Make sure you follow me all across social media at One Mike with Big Mike. That Jim Brown went from being 100% behind Kaepernick to like, well, you know, the whole flag thing, you know, the anthem, that's my flag and my anthem. I think he's wrong about that part. Miss me, man. Miss me with all the flip-flopping and ridiculous stupidness and all that. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, because I'm watching this thing now about Mike Vick. He got a job now. He's got a job working with Fox, coming fresh off the Colin. We just need Colin to cut his hair. That's what's going to help him get back in the NFL. He cut his hair. Like the same move you tried to pull to keep your ass out of jail that didn't work. I'm going to cut these braids off and put on a suit. And they was like, Leavenworth for you, homeboy. You know, immediately. Report immediately to Leavenworth. Yeah, it ain't help your black ass. But now Fox found him something, man. They found one of these dudes that's going to come out and say some outlandish, stupid stuff. Him and Jason Whitlock, they got Ray Lewis over there. They trying to make a push, man. They trying to do what they can to try to, you know, spark up interest. I know a lot of y'all mess with Shannon Sharp. I don't watch the show because I'm not because of him. I think Shannon Sharp was destined to be back on TV or back on radio or something because of he's a real insightful dude, and I've heard him talk about the work that he had to put in with his speech impediment to be better at his job, and I can always appreciate that, man. And like especially these dudes that go from the football field to in front of the mic, you can tell the guys that don't put in the work, man. And it bothers me, man, because it feels like they're just there for their locker room stories. Or tell me all about Belichick. Tell me about this time. And it's like, what are you gonna tell me about the game, B? Like, what are you gonna like? Jerome Bettis, him and Damian Woody, Anyway, so yeah, Mike Vick is gonna be over at Fox if you're looking for him. He's gonna be on this on the pregame, the pregame to the pregame show. You remember the one? I think that girl with the blonde hair. I can't think of her name. Carissa. That might not be her name. I think I'm saying her. Carissa Thompson. That sounds so right, but so wrong, man. Anyway, yeah, he'll be on the one that Randy Moss was on before he got the gig over at ESPN. It's called Fox NFL Kickoff, the show that leads into Fox NFL Sunday, the joint with Howie and my man and Terry and Jimmy and them cats. So, yeah, he says, quote unquote, I'm very excited. Over the last 7 or 8 months, I've done a lot of interviews, and I think I've gotten better as I've been put in those situations for more often. Things really came clear with Fox over the last couple months. They have shows that I've always watched and admired. Well, it ain't been out that long, B. My friends and family are thankful and proud of me. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this dude thinks because he sat down and done interviews with people and people ask him questions that now all of a sudden he's qualified to formulate a. See, I told my homeboy the other day, like, the jobs in this industry for people who've been trained as broadcasters are becoming slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. The more people retire from sports, from the sports world, man. You know what I mean? Because that's all you need to do is have some sort of sports resume, and then boom, people just throw you in front of a microphone because y'all don't care. Y'all think Deion Sanders is hot. Yeah, there's that. So yeah, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and get through the rest of this stuff here quickly. Speaking of ESPN, one of their native sons. I'm sure you guys probably haven't even heard about this situation. Your man, Ryan Russillo of the Ryan Russillo Show. Now, it used to be Van Pelt and Russillo. Then it was Russillo and Cannell. Then they fired Danny Cannell, and Russillo had his own castle. Well, I don't know what the fallout is, what was going to be the fallout for this, but apparently my man was in, I don't know, Montana or somewhere. Where the hell is that article, man? Oh, man. Did I not save it? Anyway, he's somewhere in the Midwest, toe up drunk to the point where allegedly these people, now they actually called the police because they found him in their bedroom naked with his pants down, drunk as hell. Apparently he's just in the wrong house. And ESPN has said nothing about that. And the hypocrisy that I'm speaking about is, if that were an athlete, like the first time something happens with Ezekiel Elliott, he was in a pot dispensary legally, and apparently they say he didn't buy no pot. Yeah, it's the biggest thing in life, and even throughout the whole thing, where I mentioned this on the show, when he was about to be suspended. Now we know he was about to be suspended. Like, Adam Schefter was just on TV making up stuff, like literally saying, like, after there was an incident in the club where apparently somebody got knocked out, and they say Ezekiel Elliott did it. He was like, see, this is the thing I'm saying. Like, I don't know this to be true, but I can just assume that this isn't the first time. He just happened to get caught this time. I'm like, what are you doing, B? How are you saying this is not the first time this dude allegedly knocked somebody out in the club? That's craziness to me. But now it's one of their people mum's the word. Like, I don't understand how that works. Like, I don't watch Fox News, but like when I'm watching news on MSNBC or CBS, when that stuff was going on with Bill O'Reilly, they reported on it, did they not? That your man was up for sexual harassment at the spot? Yeah, man. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna be a news organization, the news is the news, man. And if you just happen to be, if one of your employees just happens to be one of the people that's making the news, so be it. So freaking be it, man. It just, it is what it is. But, I can't. That's something that I avoid like the plague. Hypocrisy. I just avoid it, man. It's because, I don't know. To me, it's just stupid. Speaking of Ezekiel Elliott, so his appeal is about to start. The NFL is doing that thing that they do where it's supposed to feel and appear like due process, but it's not. You know what I mean? All the people who you're going to go appeal to, they work for the NFL. So it's not in their best interest to do anything. This cat, Harold Henderson, we've heard that name before, the great arbitrator, Harold Henderson. He actually has already denied a request from Elliott's representatives to make his accuser, Tiffany Thompson, available to testify. I don't understand how that works. You know what I mean? If you're accusing someone of something, you should have to be able to testify at the trial. If there is a trial, if we're talking legally here, and if there's an appeal. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of it. That's part of what, they say the bravery of the victim or the bravery of the accused. You look your accuser or you look the accusee in the eye. You tell them you're not afraid of him. But the NFL is saying no. They're not going to allow her to be made available. They also denied a request for notes or transcripts of the meetings with Thompson. Like, come on now. We kind of need to know what y'all been talking about. Yeah, in written form, cuz. But they're saying no. My man Harold Henderson is saying, hell no, that ain't happening. But they have required that only Kia Roberts, and I don't remember if Kia Roberts is the girl who was asked to lie for Tiffany Thompson via the text messages, if that was her name, because I don't do names well. But a young lady named Kia Roberts, who was involved in the investigation on the league's behalf, will be available to testify. I don't know. I don't know how this even looks like Ezekiel Elliott is getting a fair opportunity to defend himself. You know what I mean? Especially when, the term victim is being used over and over and over again instead of accuser. That's already implying that something was done to her. And again, this is a situation. This is not a situation where we're talking about the degrees of something that was done. We're not talking about a differing of opinion in circumstance. We're talking about one person saying this thing did happen and one person saying this thing unequivocally did not happen. That's two different things. This is not, what's that kid's name? Frank Clark, the kid that the Seahawks drafted, and they said they did a full investigation and didn't find anything. But meanwhile, you read the police report, and I guess they had some kids with them, and these kids are running down the hallway saying he's going to kill her. Like, what? Like, that's not random stuff. That's not kids giving that's not them giving a written statement after the fact. Like, people hear these kids saying, help, help, he's going to kill her. Nothing to see here, though. He's a good football player. He can rush the passer. So, we'll let that ride. I don't know. This is gonna be sticky, man. I don't see my man's situation getting reduced any of that stuff. I think the 6 games is gonna be what it is. And Roger Goodell coming fresh off a brand new contract, cuz he's gonna ride off with this as another victory against one of the big time owners in the NFL. So shout out to him. Last couple things before we get out of here for the night. I appreciate you guys joining me here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Don't forget, before I leave, I got to mention the One Mic with Big Mike Fantasy Football League is still open. A couple slots available. All you got to do is send me a text message to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Put fantasy football in the subject line, and I'll shoot you back a link to the league so you can get yourself signed up. The draft is going to be on September 3rd. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be the same time as the afternoon games will be popping off. So we're just going to, try to keep everything in kind of a football format of such, and making sure that the people who go to church and all this stuff, I didn't want to make it 1 o'clock because I didn't want, people who running late for church, I want you to miss or running late from church. I don't want you to miss the draft or whatnot. So I figured 4 o'clock would be the time, right? You can also go to my website and go to the contact page and send me the same email with the same fantasy football in the subject line, and we'll get it popping. There was some backlash yesterday or Wednesday after the trade of Isaiah Thomas to the Cleveland Cavaliers and Kyrie Irving to the Boston Celtics. And it was weird. Like, I'm not talking about the jersey burning thing. The jersey burning thing is just stupid and and ridiculous and whatever. And LeBron weighed in on it, but that came from a much more personal place because he never got a chance to speak out on the burning of his jersey. But what I'm talking about is this idea that I guess Isaiah Thomas was untouchable because he played after his sister passed. And I get my question to those people, to like guys like Kenny Anderson, guys like Ray Allen spoke out about this. What would be the appropriate amount of time to wait to deal him? Like if you got an opportunity to get a better player and you're doing business, you know what I'm saying? What's the amount of time to wait? Because his contract is up at the end of the year. He's already told the Celtics, you're going to have to back the Brinks truck up. And the Celtics are looking at this 5'6", 5'7" dude who, yeah, man, he get buckets. And it's an awesome, feel good, try hard, work hard story. But where are you going? Team-wise. If you're Danny Ainge, you're building a team, where are you going with Isaiah Thomas? And the question was answered via this trade. Who was on TV today talking about they talked to Isaiah, he feels gut punched by it and all this kind of stuff. It's like, you in this business, man. All the feel good stuff aside, you're in this business. Kenny Smith, TNT, what is he? Analyst? I was going to say analyzer. TNT analyst Kenny Smith says, quote, "This is everything I love and everything I hate about the NBA, the trade. Everything I love and everything I hate. I love that teams are making moves. Guys are changing places. But I hate the fact that you would trade a guy that would play 2 days after his sister died. To me, that's just epic. I just can't understand. You talk about guys not having loyalty and things of that nature. I love Danny Ainge. I love the Celtics and what they've done. But there's no way I could fathom that part of pulling the trigger. That's what I hate about the NBA." End quote. Well, guess who's not going to be a GM? Because you can't do that, man. You can't put your heart into the business that way. You got an opportunity to do something special. Not just this year, but if you can re-up with Kyrie for next year, because there have been some what's the word I'm looking for? Some surveying of NBA execs that say it's a lock, it's a done deal. Bron's out. He's West Coast bound. So you take him out the East, and you're kind of looking at Lowry and DeRozan up there in Toronto. We kind of always forget about them, right? Got not Kyle Lowry, Johnny Wall, Brad Beal out in Washington, and you got Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, and the young kid in Boston. I think Boston would be the front runner there in 2018 with a LeBron-less East Coast or Eastern Conference. I don't know. Like, to me, the part about his sister dying, it shouldn't even be mentioned. That's a personal issue. That's something outside of the realm. That's something that's untouchable. That's something that you can't use when making this call. You know what I'm saying? If you're Danny Ainge. And shout out to him, man, for not taking the bait. Because, like, Isaiah Thomas had become somewhat of a cult hero, man, up there in Boston. Everybody relates to those little dudes. Those little dudes who love it. Who love it, and they show all this heart and passion and all this kind of stuff. Now he's in Cleveland. That's probably the worst part about it. And then he'll be somewhere else next year. Because, like, LeBron leaves, you think Isaiah Thomas is staying there for Dan Gilbert to build a team around him and some kid fresh out of college? No. No is that answer. Maybe he can come here to Atlanta. They'd love him. Whatever. No one comes to Atlanta. Speaking of no one's coming to Atlanta, I wanted to get to this, man. You know what? I'll save it. I'll actually save this Muhammad Ali thing for Monday, since by that time this alleged fight will be over. Shout out to everybody, all the Madden heads. Your Madden comes out today. I hadn't played Madden in so many years. I wouldn't even know what to do. I actually, like 2-3 years ago, saw it being played. I was at my buddy's house, and two of my guys was playing Madden, and I was just kind of watching, like I was watching a football game. But that came out today. So shout out to y'all Y'all got a couple of days to get that in all the way before the actual season, football season starts. So there's that. All right, it's time to bounce, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I got some things to take care of. Got to go tell the old lady that there's no damn way in the hell you get $100 out of my pocket to pay for this farce that's about to happen tomorrow in Vegas. But shout out to everybody, man, who didn't learn last time from the fight of the century. You didn't learn your damn lesson. And all you did the next day on my social media is complain on how this fight sucked. Floyd keeps selling y'all. Floyd is like Lucy and Charlie Brown with their football. He's holding it there, and you MFers just keep running up there trying to kick it, and he move it every time. Every time he move it. Anyway, make sure, man, all weekend long, man, you share this show with your friends, man. Let them know that they can catch it on demand on Spreaker.com. They can sign up for their free Spreaker accounts. They can also download that Spreaker app and do the same thing from the app for the mobile devices. Tune in. I'll be there. I'll be on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. I'll be on Google Play Music as well as YouTube. And, of course, my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Make sure you're following me on my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Until Monday, man, y'all be safe out there. Have fun this weekend. Get something accomplished. And, you know, I hope the people in Texas, man, if you got out or if you stayed, man, just, you know what I mean, be safe, man. Just hunker down or whatever they say. Hunker down and be safe. And remember, all you need is one mic.